Closing out the regular season with a couple of straight set wins against Purdue Northwest, against Parkside, finishing the regular season 22-7 overall, and on a 4-game winning streak, 6-1 out of the Midwest crossover. What is the importance of finishing a season really strong like that and having some momentum, some wind in your sails as you enter the postseason?
Yeah, I've sat here before and talked about the power of confidence, believing in yourself, right? And the easiest way to generate that is winning. It seems like you can talk and go through all this mental preparation and visualization and put yourself in a position where you're succeeding. But ultimately, you have to actually succeed to build that confidence. And so we're dealing with something really good where we believe in each other, we believe in ourselves. Because, let's be real, the teams we've played the last couple weeks have not been at the top of the rankings. And the way that you still challenge yourself and push yourself is you go out there and you sweep them. And that's what we're doing. We're sweeping teams right now. It's starting with, when we played at Saginaw, I believe. From then on, we haven't dropped a set. Which is really impressive. We go to Saginaw, we do that. Then we go to Wayne, we do that. Then we play Purdue Northwest, we do that. And then Parkside, we did the first 2 sets, and we were down 19-11 in the third set. And we had dealt with a player coming out of the game that was pretty impactful, not being able to play. And we had next person up mentality, and they came in and got the job done. And we were able to get the sweep against Parkside as well. Do I think we would have won the match if we would have lost the third set? I do. But the mental strength it took to come back from 1911 was really impressive, and I was really proud of them because they flipped a switch. And we watched it in film yesterday. I said, let's watch film from 1911 and let's see ourselves succeeding, and then going into tomorrow, putting ourselves in that position where we really believe in each other and we have that confidence going into it.
Well, I think a lot of confidence can also come from the fact that for a lot of these girls, they've been there, done that. A lot of these girls were part of that team that won the conference just 2 seasons ago. So what is the value in having that experience, having a roster of players that have, in a sense, been there and done that when you prepare to embark on another postseason run?
The one thing we haven't done, at least that I can't think of, is host a conference tournament match with any of these players. We did my first year here against Davenport, but we haven't since. And so we get a great opportunity to play at home in front of our crowd that's been electric. And, I'm going to do everything I can between now and tomorrow to get as many people in the stands, because it is like having home court advantage is incredibly powerful this time of year. But having the horses that have done it at the highest level is also really important. So Jackie Smith, Lizzie Stark, Lauren Vandermortel, Ellie Yacco, Maddie Crowley, all these people, Megan Meyer, they've all been there before. And so I think that's hugely important for this moment because it is. There's a lot riding on this in a lot of ways. And I've said that pretty much every press conference for the last 3 weeks is the importance of the next match. And as you move along the season, the importance only gets bigger. And so I'm just really excited to be in the postseason because there are a lot of teams that don't have that chance right now. And I'm excited for another opportunity to play with this team.
And of course, when you get to the postseason, then every next match is the most important match of your season because it could be the last if you're not careful. So with Saginaw Valley coming to town for the home playoff match, this is a team that the Cats have handled convincingly twice already. So how do you need to be cautious when you face an opponent like that, knowing that the stakes have been raised? And what are your thoughts on this matchup?
Total trap, right? Playing at home, just beat them 3-0. And yeah, we addressed that right away. It's like, this is a trap match, right? We want so badly to make the NCAA tournament, and we're right on the cusp of that. There's a lot that still has to play itself out. And you have this opponent who's kind of limping into Marquette, right? They're not a bad team, right? The night after we beat them, they had, I think, 20 blocks against Michigan Tech. Took them to 5. It was close. So it's not that just because they're not winning doesn't mean they're not playing well. And they have the athletes that if they show up on the right night, anything can happen. It's up to us to show up and not think about what we had done to them historically. Learn from our matches and what we can do to exploit some of their weaknesses and slow down some of their strengths. But we got to show up ready to play. And yes, there's momentum against this team, but you have momentum until you don't. And so you have to go out there and continue to build upon that and play our style of volleyball and not let necessarily what's been happening affect what we do when we show up.
Like you said, Coach, learning along the way is one of the most important things to be doing as you go through over the course of a long season. Like we said, 29 regular season matches to get up to this point. What would you say was the most valuable lesson that your squad has learned over the course of the regular season that you want to see them carry into the postseason?
It was actually our first loss this season. I think it was our second match against Cedarville. We didn't play particularly well, and I didn't feel like we played like a team. And I went in the locker room. You have all these losses, and I've gone over. Yesterday, I went over every single loss, and I was like, what did we learn from that loss that got us to this point? What did we learn? What did we learn? And the Cedarville one, I didn't mince words. I think I mentioned it in the press conference after it happened. I said, called them kind of selfish. I thought we were being selfish as players. And there are so many different categories of selfishness, right? It was, and in my opinion, it was like some players weren't happy with how they performed, and they said, woe is me, and kind of like they didn't pout on the sideline, but they weren't giving to their teammate. And so I think I had 6 meetings after that locker room talk, because I said, if you think I'm calling you selfish, come see me. I'll explain why. And I had some really productive conversations. And I think we had 9 in a row after that we had rattled off. And you saw the change in people. And it's so hard to explain because they didn't even realize their selfishness, and that when they were being sad or upset at themselves for how they were playing, that is a selfish mentality. When you got to step outside of that and say, I'm not in the game right now. What's my role? My role is to give to my team, to be watching the person in my position and giving them feedback and helping make them better. And so that was where a lot of those conversations, and the people that walked in the room in my office were really upset with themselves because they knew they were probably not doing what was right. And so that sparked really good conversations. And from that moment on, we've truly been a team. And you look at our middle position, right? At the beginning of the year, I was rotating between Mackenzie Gruner and Olivia Weber and Angelina Gran, and now we're in a position where Olivia has really stepped up and kind of won that job. Angie and Mackenzie are the 2 biggest supporters of Olivia on the team. Like, that shows you what it is. Every day in the gym they battle, but the moment that match starts, we're one team. And so that's what's gotten us to this point, right? Being a team doesn't necessarily help you. The only reason you win a championship, but it's every team that wins championships is truly a team. And so you have to have that component, and we've worked really hard to build that, and I think we have, and now it's just going out there and getting it done and leaning into that part of our game to help us get wins in tough moments.